Hey guys, it's me, Amy Miracle with mindfulartstudio.com, and I am inviting you to join me for a little art date right now to do some Inchies for the Inchie Challenge. Today is the first day. We're going to be doing Inchies between today, Monday the 20th, through August the 31st, Friday. And I'm hoping that you'll join along. And hi, Wendy, and see just how easy it is to make a little bit of art every day. Hi, Eileen. So basically all there is, hi, Lisa. All there is to Inchies is just making small art. And in this challenge, I've decided to make it 3 inches or less. Yeah, Wendy posted one already. That's awesome. And I see Elise. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And so really it's any art piece that is small. Hi, Kelly. You know, the name of the game here really is small art. Eileen says she's itching to inch. I love it. Good morning, Lisa. It's afternoon for me, but just good morning to you. So yeah, so really it's all about just creating small so that it's accessible and doable and feels like something that you can do in a short amount of time. And I just love that because it really has changed the way that I make art. Hi, Margaret in Scotland. So yes, I'm hoping that if it hasn't already, that this will inspire you to make more art. And so yeah, I think we're just gonna dive in and get started. So in just a sec here, I'm gonna switch our view so that you can see what I'm doing. So if you've got some materials and you wanna join along, you really don't need anything complicated. Today, I think I'll be using some of these Koi watercolor brushes. I can put the affiliate link in for these if you want. These are really a treat for me. They're very not cheap, but I treated myself because I wanted them for my portable art kit, and now they've ended up being used all the time because I really kind of love them. As you can see, when I'm traveling, I work pretty small too. This is like a 3x5 Muji book that I'm trying for the first time. This would not be good with paints, but works just fine with these watercolor markers. And as you can see, you can get down a lot of really intense color pretty quickly and easily. And I've just loved playing with them and seeing what I can do with the watercolor markers. So even when I'm not working like 3x3 and smaller, it really does work for me to work smaller and do a lot of drawing practice. Yay. All right, so let me switch your view. Oh yeah, so if you've got some materials nearby, you should pull those out now. Even if you don't have any, let's say you're at work and you're at your desk or something, or at home, hey, thanks for the likes, guys, then you can just grab a Post-it. That's perfect. And a pen or a pencil and get some inspiration for some designs, maybe from your clothing, or if you can look out the window and see some leaves or some lines, whatever it might be. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to be using the Koi watercolor markers. Like I said, I'll probably also use some of my gel pens that I love to use when I work over some of the fluid art mini masterpieces, because those will not mix with the watercolor markers, of course. So let's start with the Koi watercolor markers, because I've been playing with this a little bit. And I was getting warmed up a little bit, and kind of brings me to my first point. So here's the first one that I made. It says, if it'll focus, it's really tiny. This is only like an inch circle. It says create, and I made that based on, oh no, this was the first one online. And you can see it didn't 100% work. It's hard to read. And then I started playing with this idea. I had started this while I was card journaling. Doing that, and so I want to recreate that because I know there's a good idea there. I just need to work it out a bit more. So yeah, so anyway, so I think that an important thing is to warm up. I think a lot of times people will get into starting something and maybe it won't work out the first time like that, and they'll think, oh, I'm terrible at this, I shouldn't even bother. But no, it's just that you need to warm up and you need to get to know your process and you need to try some different things out. Hi, Amanda. Amanda says her laptop battery is dead, her charger's at her office, and she can't watch on the phone. Too bad, I'm sorry. Hi, Lisa. So yeah, so it's important to take some time to get warmed up. And so you might just be getting warmed up now. So, you know, hopefully you've got a few. This is one of the things that I really like to do, is have several different pieces nearby so that I'm working on different things and I kind of switch it around and get myself warmed up, like I said. So for instance, with this one, I just used the yellow pen to make a background. I've been playing with that, clearly made some simple like leaf and plant patterns and then just some little squiggles. And obviously you can write on these or not write on these. Here, this is kind of a background that I've used the watercolor pen marker to lay in. And same with this one. This is something nice about these markers, is that they blend. I think you have to be a little bit careful about not kind of bleeding the colors and ruining the marker, but other than that, I think it's pretty cool. So I'm feeling kind of drawn to this one. And again, this is the beauty of just kind of grabbing a bunch of different circles and trying stuff out, is that you can then, and actually, you know what, maybe I'll do that. If you've got like paint or you've got, say, some markers or something, this is a good opportunity. So I'll do what I did there with the pink, and I'm just kind of using the side of the marker here, just really loosely. Okay, and of course, to me, in my sensibility, that immediately looks like a mountain range, so that's something I can certainly work with. And I'll try it again in green, just to see what happens. I've got these pre-punched circles that I've made. I'm going to mix up the way I'm laying down my marks a little bit and go around the circle, leaving some white. And this time I think I'll do an orange. Right, so this is where working in a series is really powerful. Because can you see how I'm not too tied to any of these, and I'm not feeling like pressure to make it right and all this kind of stuff? You know, there's no like big failure possibility hanging over my head. See, now this time I've laid in the color and I've just left a little bit of white space. That's always interesting. So that's a good way to lay in colors, leaving a little bit of white space, because then that white space becomes part of the image, which is always pretty interesting. And this time I've got this really light pink, which is fun. Oh, by the way, if you're having a good time, please share this video and like it, but especially share it so that other people can join in with us on the Inchies. And I think a lot of times people think that it's beyond them, and I'm hoping that these little videos I'm going to be popping in with can help encourage people that actually, yeah, it is pretty simple and you can do it. All right, and then we'll do one more. What color should I do? I've got red, brown, dark blue, and dark green and purple. What color do people want? I'll take the first color that people put into the comments. And once I've got that, then we'll start like using some other pens or markers to lay in some patterns or words or something. We'll just play. I mean, because the real point is purple. That's it. We got a winner. The point here really is just to play and to see how, when you give yourself permission to play, to work in a series, to slow down, to have permission to make mistakes, right? Lisa and other people, Kelly, who've been in my classes, know this is like a drum beat for me. Okay, and I'm having an idea here because I know this is still wet. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get a bit of that purple to transfer. Okay. I'm going to do a little more because I don't love that yet. And so I have nothing to lose. Because again, I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself. this one doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. Remember to keep my work above the comment line here. You guys can always remind me if I forget. And I'm also trying to run my color off of the circle so that it looks nice and natural. Okay. So, not sure. We'll see. And then I've got a purple circle. So now I've got like a little grouping. Okay, and hopefully you have a few with just some color on them. Or you might have, if you're in my fluid art class, perhaps you have some fluid circles that you're ready to work with the high flow paints. And you're gonna pull out your gel pens or your paint pens. Right now I'm gonna stick with these. And hi Christine, the paper that I'm using, this is a mixed media paper, so it's a little thicker. It's what we use in my fluid art class. It's just got a little strength to it. You can also do all of this for sure in your journal just by like creating little squares or circles and a kind of grid. Hi Diana. All right, so let's see. I'm feeling drawn to this green one. And again, I give myself a lot of space to be like, oh, I'm gonna add a little bit of this to this one and a little bit of that to that one. I don't have to like commit hard. Or maybe I will, but there's no kind of rules to it. And you know, something else that occurs to me, just because we're talking about being playful, I was curious if I could smudge. No, not really. I just want to see if I could smudge with my hand. And I think I might like to see a smoother line. So I'm going to experiment with that. But again, I'm not making hard and fast rules for myself. I'm not getting too uptight about it. I'm just really letting it be playful. Now in this kind of following this theme I've got of these curved kind of shapes happening. Now you might have something totally different happening. I'm just kind of following whatever inspiration is striking me. And just kind of letting this line meander a bit. Letting it be a little thicker, a little thinner. Just kind of see what happens, and I'll lift this up for you in a sec. So you can see this is really, really simple and small. And I like that idea, so I might do it somewhere else. Gonna give it a shot here on this purple one. And if anyone's just popping in, this is part of the Inchies challenge. We are doing just really simple, small art. Of course, you can make this more complicated if you wish. And who knows, I might do that, I might not. I'm just making little plus signs with a gel pen. Really give yourself permission to make it as simple as you wish. Hi Crystal, so happy you could make it. Happy Inchie Day 1, everybody. Which reminds me, the next one I do, I'm gonna do Focused on Journey, because that's our theme for today. Which I think is always kind of fun. Oh, hey, you made it. Great, Amanda. Okay. So I feel like that's a pretty nice beginning. Hi, Anne. You know, that's like a fun place to start. You know, so we've got 2 already. And I think this one that I made earlier is not bad. Probably keep working with that idea. And then, hi Faruda, I hope I'm saying that right. Hi Crystal, well, you know what? Some people are made to think small, and Some people don't want to think small. And I think it's really about what works for you. So if it's something that calls you, I think it's about just being playful and giving it a shot. And if it doesn't, then I think that's okay. All right, let me see here. Okay, so I was going to do one based on journey theme. So given that this looks kind of, sort of, actually, wait, let's do this one. This one to me looks a bit like an abstract mountain range. And again, if you're just popping in, we're doing the Inchie challenge, and we're just doing some simple marks. I'm using watercolor markers, but you can really use anything at all, including just a Post-it note and kids' markers, or even a pen or a pencil. It really is something you can do in just a few minutes every day to get your creativity stirring and open up some space for some art in your life, which is so important. You know, and a lot of that is just permission giving yourself permission to create something that you're worth it, right? How often do we tell ourselves these stories that, you know, it's too indulgent, we don't have time. Using a nice broad stroke to create like a little body of water. This is a really common theme for me with like body of water, mountain range, and a sky. Super simple. And, you know, maybe I'll add a little detail just to kind of give it a sense of mountainness. Now, I do better when I look at a picture, but we're going to leave it kind of loosey-goosey and see how it goes. And if it's not right, it's not perfect, that's okay. We're going to let it be. Hi, Wendy. Yeah, and as I was saying before, the beauty of sharing these little videos with people when I'm popping in this week is that more people can find us and join in the challenge and get inspired and create a little bit of art. And I think so many people, once they start doing it, realize like, oh man, I can make something. Wow. Like, hey, that looks pretty good. And I kind of wonder how many of us have had that experience. I'm just really loosely laying in the darker parts and letting the yellow be sort of the highlights. You know, I'm not trying to make it too perfect, making it kind of loose. And this doesn't quite read right to me. Okay, so let's see. Maybe want to do a little bit less there. Something like that. Okay, that's my little mountain range. Wendy, no problem about the laughing faces. I didn't even like notice or take it that way or anything. No worries. This looks a bit dark down here. So I might add some gel pen. This isn't going to translate right away. So Anne says, I've never done this. So is it checked squares cut into circles? You can do circles, you can do squares, you can do whatever feels good to you. There's really no rules about it. You could do organic shapes. You could do anything at all. I just like circles a lot, and squares. I'm gonna let that dry. Definitely don't need to use circles though. You know, I'm liking this, just simple form here. And by the way, I just want to remind you guys that when you hopefully share your work that you're working on for the Inchie Challenge, make sure you tag me, Amy Maracle. And when you're on Instagram, you can use the hashtag MindfulArtStudio. And one person who shares is going to be randomly chosen for my fluid art class to get in free. Okay, bye Ann, thanks for being with us. And Amanda says she made some 1-inch squares, some 2-inch squares, and a few 2 3/4 squares, which is really fun. I like that. So yeah, I like working with kind of the depth, right? With these markers, you can do more and less depth. So I'm kind of playing with that. Yeah, it does work to just share on Facebook. Absolutely. And now I'm going to lay in some yellow. No, it's Instagram and Facebook. So thanks for asking that. Good question. It's good to clarify that. I'm just discharging some of the green on that marker. All right, so now I'm thinking I'm gonna do a little bit of gel pen in here and maybe take advantage, or actually some paint pen. But I'm worried that's a little wet, so I'm gonna do some paint pen in here first. So I've got orange and red. I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, okay, let's see what I've got in my, boop, 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 boop. I've got a yellow pen. All right, so let's do some simple little dots. Now these, you're not gonna see for a couple of minutes because this is the, which one? The Souffle collection. For the, what do you call it? The gel pens from Sakura. And they show up like after a moment. You can't quite see them straight away. As they dry, they get more intense. So you can see right now, you can barely see it. And since we're working with that, I'll add some yellow circles here, dots that is, because I know purple and yellow are complementary colors and I feel like it would just be fun. And I just kind of keep rotating like this, especially when they're small. It just helps me stay kind of fresh. And I might get interested in staying in something for a long time, but if not, that's okay too. So here's our journey piece. This is kind of where I just journeyed to. I just came back from Maine and we were in the mountains and by the water. So that's really working for journeys for me. And I'd love to hear about what you guys are creating. Drop into the comments and let me know. Let everybody know what you're working on. Just adding a few more dots to give some more depth to the water. And then, let's see. And maybe we can do a little writing on this one. So I'm looking at that, I'm thinking I've got, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to use a micron pen. Really teeny. And I'd say I'm going to take some words from a few of you. So I'd love for you to tell me in a word what it means for you to be able to make art. So in a word, what does it mean for you to be able to make art? And I'm going to use some of those words to create something on this little circle here. Amanda says, I'm taking a class on watercolor flowers and love making leaves, but my flowers look like a first grader did them. And and there you go. That's the point about practice, right? And after you take the class, that won't be true anymore because you're getting this, you're getting skills and tools. So I see freedom. Oh, a simple woven paper circle. I love that, Wendy. And Eileen says, I watercolored a bunch of blues and greens and have an ocean theme going. Isn't that funny the way that works? All right, so I've got freedom, release, still. So I'm going to start putting these in. And one thing I want to point out for people who think they can't write on their art is it's about going slow and practicing. Okay, and hi Rochelle, and hi Margaret, and relax and breathe. All right. So we have go with the flow. I love it. Freedom, release, still, relax, and breathe. Art. So now this has changed what we were seeing. So I think I'm going to take my yellow marker and change things a bit. Just going with the flow, like Eileen was saying. And so again, I'm just kind of trying to be a little bit loose about things. Hi, Michaela. Wendy says, for the journey, I decided to work on 2 themes of journey, inner and actual level. For some reason, my mind was taken to a trip from Christmas 1992 to the Grand Canyon. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. I love that, Wendy. Hiya. And Denise, I'm so glad you like it. Yeah, and it's amazing how, like, without the yellow, it wasn't working that great. And now with it, it's not bad, you know? All right, now I'm drawn to this one again. And I'm thinking we could maybe, oh, from the heart, that's nice. I'm thinking we could maybe, no, you know what? Do I want to put a word on this one? I don't think I do. I think I'm going to leave it as is for now. All right, now I'm going to do a few with the fluid art. And just to give people, yellow does rock. I know, I get into yellow periods or moods for a while. Let's do a square, I think. These are a little bigger. These are like 1.5 inches square and circle. Obviously I'm working really tiny. You don't need to work this tiny. You can do 3 inches or less. And of course, if you want to do bigger than that, there's nothing to stop you. All right, so one of the things that I have found doing the fluid art class that's really great is you can get a square like this where you've plopped down some fluid paints and it's just kind of, you know, meh, not much going on. And you can use the pens, gel pens or micron pens, to create a pattern over it, and it'll start to really change in a super interesting way. And I've been using brushes a lot lately, so this could totally backfire, but I'm gonna try it anyway because I want to. Oh, actually, no, we could do is use one of these brushes because then I can, do I want to match or semi-match? I think I want to match on the outside. So I'm going to do a dark color here and then a lighter color here and just kind of see what happens. Driven to make art must be my journey. I like that. So I'm just going to do circles because I find circles super relaxing. Really helps me to slow down and tune in. I notice kind of like the friction of the pen as it moves across the page. I mean, like, really see if you can notice that kind of thing. It feels okay. See if you can hear the sounds of the pen. I mean, this is where the mindful piece of the way that I teach art comes in, is that it's an opportunity to slow down and tune in and really get kind of grounded, and some people were saying more still, more relaxed. And I'm not looking at this and going, oh my God, this isn't right, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. I don't let the critic kind of go cuckoo. And part of why I can do that is I have enough experience that the critic is, you know, knows that this is going to be okay. Even if it's not good, it's going to be fine. And I like to run patterns off the page because it looks more real, more organic, especially something like this where I'm making it look sort of cell-like and organic. I want to make sure it reads like it's real. This could be fun. Yes, Amanda, circles and triangles are super fun. So people are working on some journey themes. There's some water themes going, some flowers. Let's give each other some other ideas. I was doing some writing along with just some simple patches of color. And I had some other circles that had patches of color with just simple little designs, like plus signs. So yeah, this is already getting way more interesting because this area of paint in the middle that's kind of like there's little bits of color kind of now is getting echoed by the circles, which are kind of giving the same feel because you see the white of the page through them. So this is such a cool technique, and it's why I love the fluid art technique, because you know, you get to watch these paints flow around, and then even when you come up with a little piece that's not so interesting all by itself, you can start to use the invitation to play and see what kinds of interesting things might happen when you do that. And I'm super intrigued by this. And you can take these things lots of directions, right? Like this could be a giraffe head with an eye that's crying. There'd be another eye here. It's very abstract. Can you see that? So it'd be like the nose and the mouth down here. Here's an ear, an eye, and kind of a scraggly neck. And I do this a lot where I turn my art different directions. But I think I'm gonna go with my initial idea, and now I'm gonna echo the same thing in the dark area with a light pen and just kind of see what happens. I don't know if I'm gonna do the whole thing. This is a Uniball Signo white gel pen. And again, I can put the affiliate links for all these if people are interested. You can also probably find them for sure at your local art store. Dick Blick is a great resource. Jerry's Artorama. Lots of different spots. Now this pen is not loving being on here today. I'm going to try the other one. Is that your favorite white? That's awesome. Margaret says, I have started with sticking a bit of a map on my circle. Not sure where I'm going next. Ooh, that's a great theme for Journey. So now I'm onto the Sakura Jelly Roll because it's liking being on top of the fluid paints more than the Uniball Signo did today. That's not always the case, but you know, with the map, you could kind of sit back from the map and kind of say, what color wants to be on here? And just go with whatever comes to your mind first. Or maybe look at your paints or your markers or whatever you have and see which color catches your eye first. And just go for it. Don't overthink it. Just let it be kind of a free thing. See how interesting this is getting already? It may or may not be your style, but before it kind of looked like a hot mess or just a blob. And now it's, you know, it's getting to be something. See that? Hi, Shandy. Yes, that's a journey. That's nice. Totally. And actually, since we're working so tiny, I don't know, I didn't think of this before. I'm going to lower you all down a bit. Sorry, I didn't think of that before. You know, in a piece like this, once I'm kind of in, now you can see I'm dropping in, right? I'm not flitting as much anymore. Yes, Robin, I definitely integrate these into my journal pages. So sometimes I'll make little accordion books like this, right? You can see a bunch of the little pieces get incorporated. I cut circles out of them and things. But I also use them in a regular journal page sometimes. And let me just grab one of those. Just a sec. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, these are a little bigger. Hi, Maxine. But like you can see this one, this is 2.5 inch, I think. And so then this page has like a 1.5 inch circle and a 2 inch circle and then a 2.5 with a cutout, all layered. All right, so there's a bunch of different options. Let me get you another page. This page I've got pattern, and then I've made a little envelope and I've got some Inchies inside. Good morning, Maxine. And I've written on that one and on this one. Right, that's pretty fun. What else? Here's another example of like a galaxy kind of page with Inchies. And do I have another page here? That's a page that didn't work. This is a page I like. And it's got a little Inchie. And that was another piece that was not exciting. And then I used kind of a flower theme loosely. And I added in some marks in the middle and little dots and then lines coming from the outside. And so it really works, you know? And I love that you can take something that you think is really not so hot and make it something that you feel really good about. And that part to me is really fun because I feel like it really undoes the work of the inner critic that says like, you stink, you're no good at this, like, might as well just give up, blah, blah, blah. All that kind of baloney that our head likes to say. Hi, Shelly. And I think I'm going to turn off my overhead light because I think you all are getting a big fat shadow when I'm drawing. And I do turn my work around like that quite a bit. And this is just, you know, now some people might not like this, but I wouldn't have thought I would, but once I got into it, I learned that this is actually a very meditative type activity for me. Just gets me to slow down, tune into the moment, look at the colors, feel the pen in my hand, notice the sounds outside, just be present, right? Wendy says, I love the sound of your journal pages moving. It sounds rich with medium and inspiration. Oh, you write so beautifully, Wendy. Thank you. I always love that sound too, and I think that's part of why I'm into mindful art. I've always loved the sound of paper. Like, you know, when you get a gift and you get tissue paper, I think that's probably one of the first things I noticed, or the pages of a book. Or if you have like a fancy handmade paper, there's just something about that. I've always had a love for paper. Now this is feeling a bit stiff on this edge, so I'm just going to kind of overlap some of my marks to break up this line. It might work, it might not, but that is okay. Anyway, so you're getting the point. Let's see, I'm feeling like I want to just do a teensy bit more. I want this shape, before we stop with this one, to just feel a bit more organic-like. How are your pages going? How's that map going? You know, and I think part of the key is don't get too stiff and do more than one, right? Like I had this whole pile here and I did a whole bunch of stuff. Give yourself some room to warm up and try some different stuff out and make some mistakes and make some things kind of ugly. Because the more you give yourself permission to play and experiment like that and to not have to make it all look good, the more good work you're going to produce. I promise you. Because when you're all tight and you have all these expectations, you're just not free enough in those moments to really get to the best stuff. And I personally believe some of the best stuff is inside of us. And some of the best stuff kind of we can tap into from not inside of us, but like something, for me anyway, kind of beyond myself. Which is why this is really a spiritual practice for me sometimes, frequently. Susanna's saying, uh-oh, I'm in love with the white gel pen thanks to your dots. Yeah, I know, it's super, if it calls to you, it is super addictive. And it's just fun and easy. So like, you know, look at that. In not much time, we've created a pretty complex, kind of interesting piece. So, like, let's line them up a bit. And the cool thing is, if you just kind of play around a bit like we were, and do a bunch of different things, then you'll have more to work with later, right? Like I've got some pieces here that I can continue to explore with later on. Right, and try the same thing multiple times in multiple different ways, try the same color schemes, start to vary the color scheme and then try that several different times. Right, this is a variation on a theme I use all the time. But so is this. This shows up in my paintings constantly, like I was telling you. Right, the sky and the mountain and the water. And I quite like that little one. It's not an exact kind of thing, but that's not the point with what we're doing. Yeah, cool. So I also want to let you guys know that if you've been following along at all, I have been doing a class called Diving Deep, and I think there are a few people still on the live who've been in the class, but it's an intuitive art journaling course where, thanks Wendy, where we're really learning to kind of do the dance and blend between listening to that intuitive voice and being able to express what you're feeling through your art, and learning technical skills that will help you kind of have more of the vocabulary to say what you want. And it's really been it's a tremendously deep experience for me as a teacher, to be with folks, and they just give so much of themselves. You know, we learn to do the rich, smoky backgrounds. Oh, thanks, Elise. Elise says this class is well worth it. Amazing. And Shelley says, wonderful class, Diving Deep. We have quite a few Diving Deepers on here, I think, today. You know, and then how to use then patterns and mark making, and then also blind contour drawing to start to express and tell way more stories than perhaps you've done before. So it's really about learning to take your art journaling to that next level where it's not just about making a pretty picture, but rather about saying something more in your journal, both to yourself, and then also exploring. I mean, for me, my art journal is really just it's a place to explore kind of outside of myself, right? Like when I was saying about the journey one, like when I do these landscapes, it's often like very symbolic for me, trying to get to focus, of my spiritual life, right? And going on these journeys where I don't know what's going to happen takes me there. Kelly says, another student says, diving, I swear guys, I did not plan to tell these people. I'm so lucky everyone popped on. Diving Deep is a fabulous course. I can't recommend it enough. Helped me to prioritize my art practice and truly own my identity as an artist. Oh my gosh, Kelly, that's so huge. I know we've talked about it, but it's just nice to hear you say it again. And a few weeks out to still feel that way. It's just huge. Eileen says, I totally agree. A really fun, engaging, and powerful class. So yeah, you know, we learned the blind contour drawing too, which by the way is one of the things that scares people the most. Or this is semi-blind. But it also takes you so much further. Again, in those stories that you can tell, like we had, I shared today, we have one student, Deborah, who had like a really important person in her life, and there was something important about a typewriter, and she just did this gorgeous piece with one of those smoky backgrounds, and then like a mark making layered technique, and then over that did the blind contour drawing of the typewriter, just really in detail, an old typewriter, and it all tied in. It was really powerful. It was really amazing. And I know for me, being able to do the blind contours has really kind of helped me, again, to do so much. I've been having a fabulous time drawing my son. It's a great time for me to kind of focus on what's so wonderful about him and why I love him, and all of that, which is just so special. And so it kind of gets into that memory keeping piece of things as well. But then like with the one piece I showed you, well, this would be similar, right? And so you can do some of the more meaningful stuff with using the drawing. You know, but with something like this, you know, making this piece was just really powerful for me. I think I did this one live in the class, and it's just really about slowing down and learning to kind of have this step back and forth and have this conversation with your art. Again, whether you think that's something from within you or whether you think that's something from kind of beyond you, but just really learning to use those technical skills that you gain in the class, but then also be able to, sorry, I have some sort of flying something here. Being able to tune into your intuition and what it has to say to you, and realizing how wonderful it is to start to create this way. Lisa says, diving deep, best class I've ever taken for so many reasons. Yay! So anyway, that's a little bit about diving deep. I just wanted to let you know, since today is the first day to register, there are 20 spots only, because it's a live class, 6 weeks. And I'll be capping it at 20. So once it fills up, it's filled. And the class is a live class. You'll get a live teaching on Monday afternoon, and then usually on Thursdays I'll do like a kind of like a bonus live based on what I'm seeing in the class, what people post, what they need. And then I'll comment on Mondays and Thursdays on your work, and you'll be commenting on each other's work. And it just creates this really beautiful community. It's shocking to me how close everyone got. And I think that Kelly and Eileen and Lisa and Shelley and all those people can speak to you about it. I mean, it's just, it's crazy in the best way possible how close everyone got. And not like oversharing either. It's not like that. It's just this really great experience where everyone is being vulnerable with their art and their art process and doing it together in a really real and safe way. And I try to facilitate that by really just being my usual goofy self and, showing you kind of like I was today, the process and how it's all just real, and some of it might work and it might not, but just kind of creating that space for yourself. Oh, Wendy, I'm so glad you love the Inchie workbook. You're so welcome. So yes, so Inchie challenge all this week and next. So please tag me, Amy Miracle, and on Instagram you can hit the Mindful Art Studio hashtag, and you'll have a chance to win a free spot in my class, Fluid Art. And make sure you sign up so you get the prompts each day. And I thank you so much for being here. This was a blast. I always love being on these lives with you. And Wendy wants to know, will I offer, I'm assuming, diving deep again after this one? Yes, I definitely will. I don't know if I'll be offering it twice a year or once a year, but I'll definitely be offering it again. So in the spring. So if you liked this, oh, Norma, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this little mini workshop, please share so that other people can too. It's great having these free resources that we can all use and take advantage of. I think it kind of enriches all of our art lives, and I so enjoy being able to provide these little opportunities and bits of inspiration for you, and I am happy to be able to offer you the opportunity to also do that for other people, and it's kind of this wonderful positive feedback loop. So and of course, Wendy, I would love to have you in class in the spring or whenever it feels right for you. Oh, I'm so glad, Wendy, that you needed this. It's good timing, and thanks for sharing. I love hearing that. So great. And I needed it too, because it's always fun to share art with you. And Norma says, love your Inchies. They are so inspirational. Oh, that's great. Amanda says, because of my time zone, I don't always make it to the live workshops, but I'm glad I remembered today. I know, I'm glad too, because you're in, whatchamacallit, I'm glad that you, sorry, my phone popped up with a message and I got distracted, quite frankly. Yeah, I'm glad you caught it. And thank you, Eileen. Have a great, great day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.